Alright guys, so this is kind of a part two to the video we started the other day. The other day was just more of a introduction to absolute value. Today, I want to talk more about actually solving these absolute value equations. So our goal for today, our main goal is to get absolute value equals to a number. And that's what we need. We need to isolate the absolute value sign to be able to solve the absolute value equation. So let me show you. Let's say we got 5 times the absolute value of x equals to 25. So I'll call this example 1. Now realize we don't have absolute value equals to a number yet. We got 5 times the absolute value equals a number. So we want it to look like absolute value equals a number. We got to divide both sides by 5. And we get the absolute value of x equals to 5. Now we have that absolute value isolated. Absolute value equals a number. Absolute value equals a number. So from here, this means we get x equals 5 and x equals to negative 5. Because the absolute value of 5 is 5, the absolute value of negative 5 is 5. So once we get to this place, we know this equation equals the positive of this number and the negative of this number. All the equations we work with today are going to have 2 answers. So let's see. Let's look at a different example. Number 2. Let's say we got 3 times the absolute value of x equals to 15. So it's very similar to the last one where we don't have absolute value equals a number yet. We got the absolute value, or 3 times the absolute value equals to 15. So then we got to divide both sides by 3. And we get the absolute value of x, again, equals to 5. And again, that means x equals 5. And x equals to negative 5. So very similar problem. So what we want to do is we want to get to absolute value equals a number. So these problems, they can get a little tougher. So instead, let's say we got this. And I think this one's one where people get a little stuck. So let's say we got this. This one's a little bit different. Let's see. Let's say we got absolute value of 2x plus 1 equals to, let's say 9. So this one's different. This one, there was only x inside the absolute value. In this one, there's a 2x plus 1. So this is where we got to do something a little bit different. Look back up here at our goal. We want to have absolute value equals to a number. That's what we have here. Absolute value equals a number. So when it's this case, we want to turn it into two equations. So one of our equations is 2x plus 1 equals to positive 9. The other equation is 2x plus 1 equals to negative 9. So in this case, where you got more than x inside the parentheses, you just set up two equations. 2x plus 1 equals this number. 2x plus 1 equals the negative of that number. And then we just go through and solve them like two-step equations. 2x plus 1 equals 9. The way I would solve that is I would subtract 1 from both sides. And I get 2x equals to 8. I would divide both sides by 2. So one of my answers is x equals to 4. And we can check our answers. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9, and the absolute value of 9 is 9. And we do the same thing for this one. We got a two-step equation. We subtract 1 from both sides, and we get 2x equals to negative 10. We divide both sides by 2, and we get x equals to negative 5. And we can check this one too. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10, plus 1 is negative 9. The absolute value of negative 9 is positive 9. So both of these answers checked out. So you gotta kind of determine which case you're working with, whether you're working with these, whether you just have the absolute value of x, or you got things going on with x inside of the absolute value sign. So I want to work through a couple more examples where we got a few more things going on instead of just, let's say we got this. So let's say we'll call this example 4. Let's say we got 10 times the absolute value of 2x plus 4 let's say equals to 100. So the thing we want to do is we want to get absolute value equal to a number. Well, right now we got 10 times the absolute value equals a number. So we got to divide both sides by 10. And we get the absolute value of 2x plus 4 equals to 10. And it's from here. All right, we got absolute value equals a number. Here's where we got to set up our two equations. We got 2x plus 4 equals to 10. And we got 2x plus 4 equals to negative 10. And we just got to solve these two-step equations. So we subtract 4 from both sides. And we get 2x equals to 6. And divide both sides by 2. We get x equals to 3. So, what are our answers? Let's see. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 4 is 10. The absolute value of 10 is 10. 10 times 10 is 100. Let's solve this one. Subtract by 4. We get 2x equals to negative 14. Divide both sides by 2. We get x equals to negative 7. So 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. Negative 14 plus 4 is negative 10. The absolute value of negative 10 is positive 10. Positive 10 times 10 is 100. So both of these, when we check them, they worked out. So like I said, there's kind of like two different ones. You got expression inside, or back to our first couple of problems, we didn't have an expression inside. It was just absolute value of x. And then when we got here, we said, okay, it's x equals 5 and x equals negative 5. So let's work through one last one together before I post an assignment. So I'm going to say this is most difficult case. So we got 3 times the absolute value of 2x plus 8 well, let me write that better. 3 times the absolute value of 2x plus 8 minus 2 equals to 13. So, like I said in the very, very beginning, the first thing we want is we want absolute value equals to a number. But right now we have 3 times the absolute value minus 2 equals a number. So we kind of treat this like we do any other equation, where like if this was 3x minus 2 equals 13, we use inverse operations to solve. We'd want to add 2 to both sides first. So we get 3 times the absolute value of 2x plus 8 equals to 15. So now we still don't have absolute value equals a number. We have 3 times the absolute value equals a number. So we want to divide both sides by 3. We get 2x, absolute value of 2x plus 8 equals to 5. Now we're finally at that place where we have absolute value equals a number. So we set up our two equations. One of them is 2x plus 8 equals to 5. Our other equation is 2x plus 8 equals to negative 5. So now we just go through our inverse operations and solve. Subtract 8 from both sides, and we get 2x equals negative 3. Divide both sides by 2, and we get x equals, well, negative 3 over 2 isn't a number like 6 or 5 or 1. It doesn't simplify. So we just leave it as negative 3 over 2, and that's okay. You can have a fraction as an answer. 2x plus 8 equals negative 5. We subtract 8 from both sides, and we get 2x equals to negative 13. We divide both sides by 2, and we get x equals, well, negative 13 over 2 doesn't simplify, so it's negative 13 over 2. So like I said, for the ones we're going to be working with today, absolute value equations, they're going to have two different answers. And I will post an assignment with this with 5 problems for you guys to practice with and solve. If you get stuck at any point, feel free to email me. I'll be around. Just while we're sitting here, while I'm kind of wrapping this up, I got a question about why there's a thing of noodles right here. So I'll show you. I sit my phone on top of this, and then I have a can I put on top of my phone right here, and that's how I'm able to record these videos. So like I said though, if you do need any help, I'll be posting 5 problems today. Feel free to email me, and just let me know if you need anything. Let me know how you guys are doing. I haven't heard from some of you in a while.